of the day, and I'm just I'm just thinking to myself, have I ever asked anyone or ever uttered the phrase "suck my tongue"? Ever? I don't think I have that phrase in my vocabulary. Suck my tongue, and yet the Dalai Lama has blown up on Easter weekend because of a video of him essentially kissing a young boy on the lips, and then in a kind of like, you could probably excuse the kissing, maybe, but then he goes into this suck my tongue thing, and now the Dalai Lama is in apology mode. Hi everyone, it's Emil Guillermo, Emil Amok to you. Welcome to Emil Amok's Takeout, my takes on all things considerable. I'm talking about it today. I mean, we're kind of back on a normal schedule after the. I mean, should we single out Easter? I mean, it's kind of like a spiritual weekend for everybody, right? You know, the confluence of Passover and Ramadan and Easter all together. It was a kind of a holy spiritual kind of you know coming together, and that's why the news breaking that about the Dalai Lama, or as the South Asian correspondents say, the Dalai. How did she say it? She said it in a way that said, "Are you sure you mean Dalai Lama?" No, the Dalai. Anyway, it was a different key than I usually say his name, but he's been embarrassed, and now he's come out with an apology. Dalai is how she said it. The Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama. Anyway, Tenzin Gyatso is his given name, the Dalai Lama. He issued an apology on Monday after a video showing him kissing a young boy on the lips and asking him to suck his tongue went viral. Can you imagine? You've done all this great stuff for humanity and for bringing together a sense of world peace and harmony and spiritual. I just kind of bring people into a present awareness, relieving anxiety and tension. And what goes viral isn't your good works, but this one video where you ask a small boy to suck your tongue. So he's getting a lot of debate, a lot of criticism. There's debate online. This occurred last February, but the video, it was in Dharamshala, India. He was addressing a group of about 100 young students who just graduated from the Indian M3M Foundation. And so there's one of the young male students approaching the Dalai Lama if he could hug him. He asked the Dalai Lama if he could hug him. The 87-year-old spiritual leader invited the boy onto the platform. Always a bad sign. I'm telling you, this is going to spark off a bunch of Me Too's among the enlightened ones out there. But there was a kissing on the cheek by the little boy and the hug. And then the Dalai Lama then said, "I think here also," and kissed the boy on the lips. And then he told the boy to suck my tongue while sticking his tongue out, which I'll have to read that chapter on tantric sex again to see if that has any connection. But now get this, the boy complied. And they touched hands, or they touched heads before embracing again, according to reports. And of course, people laughed and they clapped. because they took it as an innocent thing. But now it's being circulated, and you can watch this video, and people are saying that this is a disgusting case of child molestation. So, given the virality of all this, the Dalai Lama had to put out a statement. His office defended what he did a month ago, saying, and the statement came out today, but remember the act occurred in February of this year. And the statement read that, the Dalai Lama often teases people in an innocent and playful way. I think I heard Andrew Cuomo say the same thing. I'm not saying Andrew Cuomo is the Dalai Lama, or that Dalai Lama is like the governor of New York or the ex-governor of New York, but I don't know. I mean, if you wore chartreuse, or not chartreuse, but saffron robes, and we're seen as a spiritual leader, I mean, you got to take this kind of thing seriously. I mean, did the Dalai Lama think for a second there he was like a Catholic priest or something? That's the first thing that came to my head. Oh, well, this is maybe a occupational hazard, because we talked about the Catholic Church last week and that really outrageous, scandalous report that was issued by the Archdiocese of Baltimore, printed in the Baltimore Sun and picked up by other news outlets, but generally speaking was kind of overshadowed by all the other events of last week, like the indictment and arraignment of a former president, which was somehow overshadowed by the pre-fascist moves of the Tennessee legislature against two outspoken legislative representatives, one of whom was black and one of whom was Blackipino. I'm going to get to that, Justin Jones, because a lot of things about Justin Jones are coming out or will change probably today within an hour, once the council of Nashville meets. There's like 40 some members, and they have a chance to reinstate Justin Jones. I'll get to that in a second. But all that news last week overshadowed a lot. I'm just saying, so that's why you may not have heard about the Baltimore diocese is essentially coming clean about just how nasty and dirty and salacious the priests were in the Catholic Church in Baltimore, and how, I mean, it's not a small thing, the pedophilia in the Catholic Church. So when I heard the Dalai Lama story today, I thought, oh, well, this is sort of the thing, right? I mean, I don't think they vow celibacy. I think they usually have a very, very healthy, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they refrain from a lot of things, but I don't think the monks are necessarily celibate, the Buddhist monks. Anyway, so, you hear the story about the Dalai Lama, and of course, you want to be respectful, but you also have to say, oh my God, someone showed a lot of restraint before putting it out a month later. And maybe it was just, I don't know. I don't know why it only comes out now. But it was enough so that the Dalai Lama comes out and gives a statement. And even his statement has been criticized because he apologized for the incident. Some people say, "Oh, that's not enough." The apology was a video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness the Dalai Lama if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. Now, a lot of people are seeing that sentence, the hurt his words may have caused, and saying, well, wait a minute. He's apologizing for the words and not for the actual incident of the kissing, the pedophilia, the molestation. That was a criticism of the Dalai Lama, of his statement. The rest of the Dalai Lama's statement is, His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. He regrets the incident. This was released through his Twitter handle, the Dalai Lama's Twitter, at Dalai Lama. But a lot of people, like I said, are saying, is this enough? The video is on the internet, and the internet is forever. It will cause him trauma growing up. They're talking about the young boy. For any other person, this would amount to jail time. This is molestation and needs to be taken seriously. And that was put out by Rituparna Chatterjee. Just one of the tweets out there that criticizes the Dalai Lama. You know, I've read some reports, he's gotten into some trouble. Prior controversy in 2019, the Dalai Lama, who is a Nobel Prize winner, by the way, you know, he doesn't have to plead poverty, or maybe he's giving away the money that he usually gets with a Nobel Prize. But he suggested in 2019 in an interview with the BBC that if he returned as a woman, she should be more attractive. So, you know, he's kind of playful, although that can be seen as kind of sexist. I mean, in some ways I want to say, look, the Dalai Lama has the right to free speech. Well, I don't know, in Tibet or in India, it's not like he has the First Amendment right there. But no, I mean, I think he's copping to what he said. And a lot of people, like I said, are criticizing him for the words and not for the actions, because they're using the Dalai Lama's words. He says, I apologize for my words. How about the actions? How about the kiss? So anyway, he's the 14th Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is, sort of like the position, right? Gyatso is his last name. Born in Tibet, living in India as a refugee since 1959. He's still active in international affairs as an advocate for human rights, nonviolence. So, I don't know, he's 89, right? So maybe this will tarnish. Well, it's gonna tarnish the little boy, maybe. 87 is the age of Dalai Lama. Anyway, that's the big news today, right? I wake up and I get this news. Oh, the Dalai Lama. Suck my tongue. All right. Yesterday was Easter for those who celebrate. And for those who just kind of celebrate in a secular way, did you go out and eat? Did you go out and... Now, here's the thing. Today, Monday, they had the Easter egg roll in the White House. It was something like, I don't know, they've had it since Rutherford B. Hayes was president. So they've had it a long time. But one of the issues about the Easter egg roll, they call it, is that the price of eggs being kind of pricey. I was thinking, do they have to be eggs? I mean, don't you need just something that is roundish and rolls a little bit? That's a symbol of Easter, a symbol of rebirth. I mean, a lot of people are wondering, oh, eggs. And then there's the Easter bunny, and they're wondering, does the bunny just deliver the eggs? Or is the the bunny laid the eggs? Oh, no, 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 Emil. The bunny doesn't lay the eggs. The chicken lays the eggs, of course, of course. But you can see how you can make the leap. Oh, there's the Easter bunny. The Easter bunny has legs. Is he just the middleman, or does he actually lay them? And then that would be like miracle eggs if it was bunny eggs. I mean, I think about these things because we have this tradition, right? When you go secular and you don't, put God on a cross and then have the rock roll away and he walks out, or if you don't have like Passover or Ramadan or anything that, then you have to like create these, animal kind of stories. Oh, well, here's this Easter bunny and he's got eggs and he's spreading the joy of spring. Hence the Easter egg hunt, which is like bad too, because the hunt is like, what, everyone's dressed up in camo gear and shooting rifles. So I was thinking, and I only saw this because it was on the Today Show. Al Roker, right? He does this thing with the Easter egg roll all the time. What if they had, and I say this because in my garden we have a lemon tree. And what if they just had an Easter lemon roll? Because my tree is just full of lemons. And it's like we got lemons holdovers from last year we didn't pick. So if you had an Easter lemon roll, then you can have lemon cake. You can roll the lemons, and lemons are cheap. I think. I mean, I think they're cheaper than eggs. Just a suggestion. I'm not trying to give away all my lemons. I have a number. Oh, my dog is here. I have a number of lemons though, and a bountiful. That's what it makes me think it's Easter. Anyway, the lemon roll, the Easter lemon roll, and then there would be no confusion about, well, did the Easter bunny, did he lay the eggs? No, he's just the middle guy. He's the messenger. But instead of eggs, to end that confusion, just have him deliver or roll lemons. Now, Al Roker did say that they had wooden eggs with the dogs of the presidential dogs on the eggs. Anyway, so Easter Monday, there's still a thing, and I'm just trying to put in the suggestion box what they can do. Easter lemons. Man, I think that's good. Lemons are a sign of, man, my lemon harvest this spring, it's like exploding. All right, so it's Easter. Hope you had a good Easter. Went to brunch somewhere. I hope you had, a good time with the family. I spent much of my Easter period binging on an Asian American thing. Well, it's not really an Asian American thing, but E498, the production house behind Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, right? They are the big producers of Beef on Netflix, which is the Stephen Yoon, Ellie, I keep wanting to call her Allie McGraw, but she's Allie Wong. And she may be a generation's new Allie. Instead of, for a generation, they think of Allie and think, oh, Allie McGraw, right? That's the name that comes out. Now, that Allie Wong, right? Who is, a 5 foot dynamo, right? A ball, an explosion of talent. And together with Stephen Yeun, they produced this thing and they star in this thing called Beef. And I wasn't intending to binge watch it. Look, Beef, look, I'm a vegan, but I loved it. And I'll have a fuller review about why it's worth your time to watch Beef and why it's the modern Asian American story. It is. It's the modern Asian American story. I mean, they're on a roll. You know, I heard that Beef was coming out soon after the Oscars, and I thought, okay, yeah, let's look and see what this is all about. But I had no idea. I saw some trailer. Wasn't really as interested when I saw the trailer, but now, after spending, there are 10 episodes, about 40 minutes each. That's 400 minutes. That's essentially 6-7 hours of viewing. It is an epic Asian American story. I'll write about it on my Aldith blog. Asian American Legal Defense and Education. I loved it. And wasn't expecting. I like Ali MacGraw, Stephen Yeun. I mean, I knew he was in zombie films or zombie TV shows, but never was really a fan of the zombie shows. But I know he's a tremendous talent. It was. I think if you had trouble, and some people had trouble with Everything Everywhere All at Once, but if you see Beef, you'll say that is an epic Asian American story. Anyway, all right, so got that out of the way. All right, now, and what I really wanted to talk about today, in like I think soon, like within the next 30 minutes, in Nashville, the city council there, or the Metropolitan Council, I think they call it. There's like 40 members. They're going to get together to see if they can easily, quickly reinstate Justin Jones, one of the two ousted Tennessee legislators, ousted last Thursday, tried to reinstate him to his seat as an interim replacement, replacing himself, right? The irony of that. And then it'll be up to the state to decide when the next election will be held to choose the permanent replacement. You see how ridiculous that is, right? Because every election costs money. A lot of, even in a small district, even district elections cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. And this is what the pre-fascist moves of the Republicans in the state house in Tennessee hath wrought. You know, they have created this obstruction. They thought that because this is the new tack on how to deal with people you don't agree with. You don't allow for debate. You just shut them out. You kick them out. You kick them out of the entire body. They wanted to kick out 3. They kicked out the 2 young people of color, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. And so we'll see if Justin Jones gets reinstated today. I'll talk about it tomorrow on tomorrow's show. And Justin Pearson, we don't know when Memphis, when they meet to determine an interim, but it gets more complicated because there's some issues on the table about funding, and the legislators in the state house are threatening to use some of that funding as a way of convincing some people that Justin Pearson maybe should not be named the interim to his own post. So this is the kind of pettiness that just drives people crazy about politics. It's the way divided politics is. I mean, it's what happens in a divided situation. And then when you have the upper hand as as a supermajority, as the Tennessee legislature did, then you don't do anything to seek compromise. You get rid of your opponent. You just it's just total annihilation, right? For the transgression of not following rules of decorum, you would think a simple wrist slap would do. You would think something short of the nuclear option, right? But they went nuclear and they got rid of them. And how many times have you seen people who are managers? They'll push you. And then you say, I'm giving up. Can't take it. I'm leaving. And they say, hey, we didn't mean to make you resign. We just wanted to send a message. You send a message. You don't like me. You don't want me. And so a lot of this miscommunication, but this isn't miscommunication. This was sheer legislative bullying on the part of Republicans. And it's destined to be the new way of how Republicans deal with issues like this. You got the supermajority, then use it. Use the power. Get rid of them. Get rid of your opponents. Shut them out. Shut them down. That's un-American. That's anti-democratic. That's why it was an important story last week and today. And we'll see what happens to Justin Jones if he gets reinstated. All right, but my thing about this is now I dare you to watch every story today about Justin Jones and about his colleague Justin Pearson, who joined him in getting expelled from the Texas House state legislature. See how many times they just call them the two black legislators. Black legislator Justin Jones. Just to see how many times that happens. And tell me if you're not bothered. I'm bothered as a Filipino American because I know that Justin Jones is half Filipino. Now, you might say, come on, Emil. I think you're taking this a little too seriously. No, I'm not. I mean, I think I'm taking it seriously as it should, because if you do not press the issue, I mean, when are Filipinos ever mentioned? Hardly ever, right? I mean, it wouldn't come to anyone's awareness that Justin Jones is Filipino. Are you sure, Emil? Yes, I'm sure. He mentions it in his campaign materials. He mentions it. It's in his official bio. He's even tried to come to terms with, his lack of knowledge about being Filipino like 5 years ago, and sought some Filipino scholars to help him, to educate him. I mean, he's aware, just like most people aren't aware of, Justin Jones's Filipino-ness. But it's important because if you do not mention Justin Jones being Filipino, then what is he? You don't see the Filipino. You don't see the Asian American. He's just an African American. Well, yeah, half. But he's also Asian American. And hence this, you see the significance of this. He's a person of color. I know over the years, there's been attempts to try to figure out, well, what do you call the Asian black mix? Do you call it Blasian? Do you call it Afro-Asian? Do you call it Blackipinos? Do you call it, I mean, it's real. And every time I hear and news organizations say black activist Justin Jones, or Justin Jones, one of two black activists. I mean, you can count the times you've heard that. It's wrong. I mean, it's not right. I mean, it's only half right. It's not accurate. So I hope that your dander goes up a little bit when you hear black activist Justin Jones, because it should be. And to their credit, the Washington Post, on one of the first stories on this, on the action of the expulsion last Thursday, the Washington Post was one of the first to say Justin Jones, of African American and Asian descent, or Filipino descent. They use the ethnicity Filipino. Kudos to you, Washington Post. And Alex Wagner, who is part Burmese, she pointed out on the night, on last Thursday night, she said Justin Jones, who is African American and Filipino, that's great. How about her buddies? How many times have they just said African American, the two African American activists, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson? You see, you just have to be consistent and accurate. And to say that Justin Jones is black or African American is only half right. Only half right. So I hope that we come to some kind of terms with how to describe these mixed race people. Sometimes it's going to be, well, how do they want to be described? I mean, that's the way the census does it. How do they want to be described? And I know Justin Jones sees himself as both black and Filipino. But how many times outside of the ethnic media will you see it accurately reflected? Probably not many times. See my post on the ALDEF blog, Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, ALDEF, AALDEF.org/blog. And I talk about that. I say, hey, he's black, he's Filipino. We got to figure out a way to do it accurately. Now you say, Emil, let's look at some people and how they've dealt with it. Well, usually how they dealt with it is that first time it happens, on first reference, people make a big deal and then they stop. A weird exception is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, who hardly ever mentioned, during her time when she was running for president, hardly ever mentioned she was part Indian, although I guess it's assumed that people know she's part Indian. But on the national campaign trail, she never mentioned it until she was in trouble. Then in Iowa, she started mentioning her Asian Americanness more publicly. And that I was always on her for that. You know, just why, when you introduced yourself at, the campaign, and why is it significant? Because it is significant. And you know when it was more significant? When everyone finally did it, when everyone finally acknowledged what she was, when Biden and Harris won the election. And then people realized the significance. Yeah, first African American woman, first Asian American woman, highest ranking Asian American woman ever in American democracy. It's significant. If you don't mention it, you don't see us. And I think therein lies the issue. That are we talking about? I mean, I guess if you're assimilated, right? You just who we are. We're Americans, right? That's the assimilation viewpoint. Hey, we're who we are. We're all one. Yes, but we are also distinctively our ethnicity, our race, our we're connected to the origins of our parents, our culture, and we create a unique American culture where we are all these things. That's the beauty about America, right? That's the beauty about American democracy. So you saw how as soon as Harris won, people started acknowledging, yeah, she's part Asian, she's part black. And then things changed again. Suddenly, oh, Harris just got dumped on a lot by everyone. Oh, she's not doing enough. She's on the way out. And I think really what it boils down to is how that happens is it shows a kind of bias against Harris or against being inclusive, right? Because I see Harris, I see an African American, Asian American woman. And I know that Obama had the same problem. And he just said, look, I'm black. Oh, but we know he was black and he was white. But, you take the preference based on what the person says he'd like to be called, and that's it. But, you know that when it comes to Asian Americans, we like to claim you because we rarely are seen. And so when we're there with you and you have some of our blood, we're going to claim you. I'm sorry. We're going to claim you. You're one of us. And, here's the thing about Justin Jones. He gladly claims it. You look at my column on the Aldif blog. He doesn't shy away from it. And I think Asian Americans, Filipino Americans are proud to see him represent them, represent their voice, whether or not they live in Nashville or not. He's there representing our voice. Our voices. That's why it's important. That's why it's not an insignificant thing that Justin Jones is black and Asian, black and Filipino. I know a lot of people say, come on, Neil. Insignificant. Irrelevant. What the heck are you talking? Well, you're just jabbering away. No, it's important. Because if we even give an inch on this, then we're on the road to invisibility. We're on the road of not counting. And if you fought this long for inclusion, you fought this long for visibility, every time someone says, black activist Justin Jones, as the multitude of anchors in television anchordom will on this day, you will find it upsetting because they intentionally will not see you. They intentionally will say, not important. When it's very important. Very important. So I just, if you're a news consumer, news watcher, newspapers, television, radio, see how many times you hear black activist Justin Jones was reinstated. How many times do you see that lead? Keep track of it. Those are transgressions. And they're not minor. They're transgressions that say, we do not see you. It hurts. So as I speak, the Nashville Metro Council was supposed to meet. Our meeting. Let's see what happens. Should be over quickly. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll probably write something on my various outposts. Check it out. And like I said, see how many times. They will omit the Asian Americanness of Justin Jones. See how many times it's not mentioned. And consider that missed opportunities for people to see that, hey, Asian American and blacks, they have a bond. You may not realize it, but we have a bond. And the bond is in blood. We're family. And we fight for the same issues. That's what you got to think about. All right, I did not, well, not that I didn't want to, but I guess I have, to this point, I have not talked about the Kentucky shootings. It's a workplace shooting at the bank. The perpetrator was shot. There were 4 people killed. I think at last count, about 8 injured. And the shooter, Connor Sturgeon, 23, white male, lost his job or was about to. Left a note, apparently, according to reports. And young guy. I mean, this is not the angry white male of, say, 40 years ago that was part of workplace violence and post offices and places like that. This is a young guy, had his world ahead of him, but for some reason thought that the possibility of losing a job or having lost a job at this young age was going to destroy his life. So maybe there was something more that we don't know. But there was the mayor of Louisville on television talking about it today. And, you know, he seems like a pretty straight shooter. He said, look, you know, people have these anxieties and these mental issues that come out of things like losing a job. They don't know how to deal with it. They need therapy. And then he himself, the mayor, talked about using a meditation app and how that's helped him. Because meditation does help. And then in the press conference, talking about the need for love. So that's how I know he's a sincere meditator. Because when you meditate, it's easy to see what the answer is ultimately. It's love. It's not AR-15s. And that, of course, is what the gunman used. He used an AR-15 or an AR-15 type. So the good thing is that the first responders responded so quickly. 3 minutes. That's how long it took. 3 minutes. They were on it. And in 3 minutes, the gunman with an AR-15 was able to take out 4 people. 9 hurt. That's because an AR-15 is only about mass destruction, war. It's not a hunting thing. It's only there to kill as many people as you can in a short amount of time. 3-minute response time for the police there in Louisville. They could not prevent 4 people dead, 9 hurt. This is why we need assault weapons bans. We need better red flag laws. Apparently in Kentucky they didn't have one. We need more restrictions to prevent these kind of killings rather than the kind of things that First Amendment advocates at the NRA want. I mean, the NRA doesn't want this, do they? Because if they do. They should say so, because it's implied that if they don't try to stop this, this is what they want. They want to see more mass carnage in America. It's not about hunting or sport or anything like that. It's about mass carnage. And it's also about the corporate gun folks and, the amount of profits they make, and protecting their profits. And this is America, right? I said that it's all tied up with what's happening in Tennessee, because Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, I mean, they were all out there in the well of the State House advocating for more significant gun control after the Covenant Elementary shooting in Nashville. And so this is in Louisville. We have another shooting, and it's just, we have so many of these now that it's just hard to keep them all straight. And there really is no sense that we're any closer today to some kind of solution to this. But we have to undo what happened on Thursday at the state legislature in Tennessee, where the Republican fascists got rid of the opposition. And, I'm telling you, the young people who are protesting, they represent the hope. They represent some optimism. So let's see what happens. Today at that meeting, Justin Jones gets reinstated, at least by the local officials. And then we'll see how what happens to Justin Pearson, because there's a lot of stuff that the legislature in Tennessee has to deal with, that Congress has to deal with. And you just can't shut out the opposition. We need to have this debate. Only way we're going to get to some answers. All right, so that's it for the show today. You can catch this on Twitter at Emil Amok, on FaceTime or Facebook at emilguillermo.media, Facebook, fb.com/emilguillermo.media. Also on YouTube, Emil Guillermo, or Emil Amok, EMIL AMOK1. You can catch this on my, I'll post it on my amok.com website, my amok.com website. So, regular listeners of this program know I like to end with a little meditation. I hear something about, some people say, oh, Emil, sometimes I just want to bail out. I don't want to be part of the meditation. You just have to relax and focus on your intent to last for as long as you can. Either a sitting or standing quiet. Remember, you could be sitting or standing. You can have your eyes open or eyes closed. Sometimes it's helpful to have your eyes open, especially if you're trying to do a meditation where you're concentrating on the moment, on the present, and you're trying to just note the things that are around you. The things that are around you that could be things on your desk, the things that you're seeing, like that you notice, things that you see, things that you hear, things around you, things that are causing some kind of feeling inside you, the feelings in your body from standing, from moving your arms, just noticing everything about your presence. And then helping yourself out by saying, yes, my intention is to stay with this meditation. Lots of different techniques to get you in the present. or to make you aware of presence. And I always like to top it off with a little metta exploration, metta, M-E-T-T-A, which is really love and self-love, loving kindness toward yourself and to others. But keeping in mind that it's really about offering it to others first, right? And then having it come back to you. And so I always end up, after a few moments of quiet, I always end up with just this little set of phrases. As I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease. I know I forgot one there. I forgot one. Well, that's it. I'm just going to go threesome. A threesome. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. That's always the clincher. If you can live with ease. Ease. Sometimes that does it. Hey, thank you for joining me. Back again tomorrow. I hope Justin Jones, African American, of African American and Filipino descent. Like I said, he looks like one of my cousins. He does. Till next time. Mahal